Okay, hello everyone. Good morning and welcome to day one of the first ever Faith Pavilion at a UN climate conference. Yes, we're so excited for that. The Faith Pavilion is a dedicated space for different faiths, different traditions, different perspectives to come together for the future of planet Earth and humanity. It's hosted by the Muslim Council of Elders in collaboration with the United Nations Environmental Program and the COP28 presidency, as well as a coalition of other faith partners. And I'm going to pass it over to Kushwant now, who is going to introduce our keynote speaker.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emily. A warm welcome also from my side. My name is Kushwant Singh. I'm the head of Secretariat of the International Partnership on Religion and Sustainable Development. And this is also what the whole topic is about today, how to connect faith, spirituality, wisdom with sustainability. A warm welcome also to all those who are joining virtually, because a lot of people are now sitting in front of their laptops, tablets, and smartphones. So a warm welcome also to all those who woke up so early. Can we give them applause too? I thank the host country, also from our side, and also the team. It's an amazing team who made this possible. I will not pick names, but I really want to say thank you to all of those who made this unique and historic moment possible. There are very few people on the planet who don't need an introduction, and Sadhguru is one of them, but still I need to do it because it's my job. There are two things we both have in common. The first thing is that we both were born on the South Asian soil, and I think you will also speak about soil. Today we will also have another session where we will speak about soil. The other thing we have in common, I think, is that people who try to put us in boxes, in certain categories, have a hard time. And then there's one thing we don't have in common at all. I have 0 followers, and Sadhguru on Instagram has 11 million followers, I think. So there's a little difference only. Sadhguru has spoken on all continents, at the World Bank, at the UN. He has received various prizes, and he's also the initiator of various ecological projects, mega projects. For instance, the Green Hands project, but also there's a project called Safe Soil, which has reached several hundred millions of people. So Sadhguru, it's a great pleasure and honor to have you here. Please come here, and we are very happy that you will give the keynote today and open the Faith Pavilion. Thank you so much.
I have a sonic beard. So yours is not. That's another difference.
Say it again. We both have a beard, but
this is sonic.
This one is sonic. My one will become sonic.
Not like that.
No? Okay.
Namaskaram. Jananam sukadham maranam karunam milanam maduram smaranam karunam kalavashadiha sakalam karunam samayadipate akilam karunam. Namaskaram and good morning to every one of you. Well, when you say something in a language that others don't understand, it's obligatory that we have to explain a bit. Essentially, I'll kind of paraphrase the chant. It means, birth is sweet. However painful it is for the mother, everybody around enjoys the birth, even she after a little while. Birth is very sweet because that's the basis of our life. If it comes at the right time, death is a good compassion. If it doesn't come, it would be terrible. If it comes too early, of course it's bad, but if death doesn't come, it would be terrible. So death is compassion, it should come at the right time. And one who is not entangled in the process of life, but touches the source of life, for that being, all aspects of life are compassion. All aspects of life are joyful and ecstatic. So essentially, faith, though it might have taken many turns and twists in the course of history, essentially faith means it's a bunch of people who are not just enjoying the creation and the benefits and the bounty of creation, beginning to appreciate the source of creation. In how many ways they do it, what they believe, what they don't believe, it doesn't matter, but essentially only because somewhere we deeply appreciate the creation, we have some appreciation for what we assume is the source of creation. What assumptions we've made culturally in different parts of the world doesn't matter, because essentially it is in appreciation of the source of creation that all this has begun. It's wonderful, it's taken on so many colors and forms, but at the same time, it's important that we understand our admiration, reverence and love for the source of creation has only come because somewhere there's a deep appreciation of the creation itself. So when we talk about environment, we are talking about that right now we are threatening the creation. When we threaten the creation and appreciate the creator, doesn't mean anything. Hello? If we worship the creator and do not appreciate the creation, it doesn't mean anything. So a time has come where from prayer to action has come in the world in many ways, not that it's not been there, it's been there, but a more global level of action has become necessary now because all faith is in admiration of creation. If there was no creation, if the creation was a terrible place, then we wouldn't admire the creator, we wouldn't look up to the creator. Only somebody who's created something beautiful, you look up to them, isn't it? If somebody has created something terrible, you don't look up to them. It's as simple as that. So, faith as a movement around the world which started at different times of history in different parts of the world. India has history of 6,000 to 8,000 years or over 15,000 years of approaching faith as a science and then making it into faith and making it into various things or breaking it down as it's applicable to every human being, not seeing any part of it right or wrong. In many ways, in this, India as a civilization could be an example because maybe many of you do not know this, in the same house, there are 5 people in the family, they're worshipping 10 different gods. Okay, in the same altar, one will worship this, one will worship this, one will worship that, and they have no problem. Because essentially it's our idea of the source of creation. It's a human idea of what is the source of creation. Well, if all our ideas were same, we would be quite stupid. We must be stupid to have the same idea. It's important we have different ideas. And each culture, each civilization, each individual have their own ideas, and it's fantastic that we have that. So, at a time like this, when in many ways the world unfortunately is accusing the faith of dividing the world in terrible ways, causing conflict, causing wars, causing all kinds of ugly things on the planet, faith has been accused of this and they're not completely free of guilt. It is there, but a time has come that we understand all this is in admiration of creation and the source of creation. how you do it, whether you light a candle or a lamp, whether you light incense sticks or you smoke yourself out, I don't care. The important thing is all this is in admiration of creation and the source of creation. So, in that context, we are always looking for what is the underlying unity among this so diverse sense of belief systems where people have made us believe that if you believe what I don't believe, I must die or you must die, one of these things. So, from this, a movement is needed right now that we understand in this creation, it doesn't matter who you are, what you believe, what you don't believe, sun shines on all of us, flowers blossom for all of us, butterflies are beautiful for all of us, hello? Cold and heat affects us, all of us the same way, and above all of us come from the same soil. We live off the same soil. And at least when we die, we go back to the same soil. So the question is just this, will we get this point now and make a difference in our lives and in the life of this planet? Or will we get it only from the maggots when we are buried? We'll anyway get it one day, I'm saying. Let's not get it too late. Right now, as a part of the Safe Soil movement, when we started this narrative in 2022, till then, soil was not in the picture, unfortunately. When we talk about soil, we're talking about agricultural soil. That means that part of the planet where human beings are tending to it every day. Human hands are on it. If you can't fix this, rest, I would say, is empty talk. If you can't fix where we are laying our hands every day upon it, that we don't fix, and we talk about fixing the sky, the ocean, the moon and the Mars, this is not going to work. Where our hands are, first we must fix that. And it is also the source of our food, it's the source of our life. If we are not willing to fix that, I don't see where is the genuine willingness in the human heart. So, in this context, it's very important that the faith leaders and the faith movements come to this, no matter who you are, what you believe, which heaven you're going to, when you die, we bury you in the same soil. When you came from the same soil. When we eat from the same soil. This is a fact. If we ignore this fact, we have differences to fight. If we internalize this fact, we have nothing to fight about. We have a job to do on our hands. And that job is not something that we can ignore because it's come to a place where every UN agency is going screaming for the last couple of decades that we have only another 45 to 50 years of agricultural soil. Why is this so? I'm not here to educate you on the soil aspect, but let me put a few facts together. If we take sand, which is in plenty in Arabia, and add enough organic content to it, it will become soil. If we take soil, take away all the organic content, it becomes sand. Right now, UNCCD has a significant place in this, I think for the first time, because desertification is one of the biggest challenges. If you don't understand what I'm talking, just look at a Google map in 2004 or 5, look at today's Google map, just see how much of the brown patch has spread. Especially Africa, India, Asian countries, North America, the desert is spreading because we are taking away the organic content. Where is it going? It's as simple as this. Let's say in 1 acre of land, if we grow 3 tons of some food substance, we are taking away 3 tons of organic content. How much are we putting back? Almost zero. So when you do this over a period of 50 years, you have turned soil into sand. On an average, if you take a handful of soil, let's say in southern India, you will have something like 8 to 10 billion organisms in a handful of soil. 50 to 75,000 species of organisms. But today, on an average, according to FAO, 27,000 species of organisms are going extinct every year. 27,000 species of organisms going extinct every year. If we progress I'm intentionally using the word progress. If we degenerate at this level, in another 15 to 25 years, one thing that'll happen is, one of the biggest challenges that human beings will have is they can't stay mentally healthy. I think you're seeing the signs all around you already. In 15 to 25 years, probably there'll not be a single family which doesn't have at least one person who is mentally imbalanced, because your software begins to collapse. Because the needed micronutrients are not there in the soil, the needed organic strength is not in the soil. In another 25 to 50 years' time, to stay physically healthy will become a great challenge. So this is where we are going. If at this time, people who are in admiration of the source of creation, either in the name of God or Allah or whatever you want to call it, those who are in admiration of the source of creation, if we don't wake up and act, when we have influence in the society, when you have access to people, if you do not act in the right direction and if we keep on carrying a 1,000-year-old agenda, we will fail as a humanity, we will fail as a generation of people. This is where we are. This can be easily turned around, we've still not reached a point where it is impossible. Right now, I'm saying right now, from today, right earnest, if we act to turn the soil policies around in the world, in next 15 to 20 years, it could be reasonably turned around, significantly turned around, I would say. But let's say we don't do anything for another 25 to 30 years, and then we try to act. If we act after 30 years' time, it would take 150 to 200 years to turn it around. That means immense suffering, at least for 5 to 6 generations of people. It's not that we're going to just die like that. When food scarcity begins to happen, we die in terrible ways, we don't simply die. So, it is looming in front of us. I'm a very positive person, I am not a doomsday speaker, but every data, every fact is pointing in this direction. It's time to act, especially leaders of various faiths, because you are an influencer in today's in today's terminology, you are an influencer, you're able to influence a certain number of people. When you have this capability, using it responsibly in this generation becomes the most important thing to do. And I'm sure we will not fail in that aspect. We have to make this happen, because as a generation, this is sitting upon us. Will we be that generation which walked into disasters? Or will we be that generation which mitigated the disaster? This will be something that we have to live with and die with. I will leave it here. If you have questions, please.
Thank you so much for this inspirational talk. It's very good that you said that you are a person of hope, so we are, and this is what is needed.
I didn't say I'm of hope, I have a plan.
Okay, Sadhguru has hope and he has a plan. So, who has questions on hope, or who has questions on the plan of Sadhguru? Please raise your hand. Yes, please. Can we pass on the mic?
Sadhguru, could you talk to us a little bit more about the role of faith influencers and the role of faith leaders in helping people to understand and act on climate? Thank you.
Yep. So right now there is a certain tendency in the world, because certain level of individualism as a religion has grown. Individualism is a bigger religion than any religion on the planet right now. When this has happened, everybody, you tell them something, they say, Sadhguru, I'm going to fix my kitchen garden. It's very cute, but it's not a solution. You fix your kitchen garden is a very cute thing to do, but it is not a solution. We've reached a point where individual actions are nice, appreciated, but not a solution. If you want a solution, we need government policies to change. Nations must shift the direction of how we grow food, how we treat the land. First of all, it's been amusing and disastrous for me to be with various government agencies, talking to soil scientists. The problem is over 80% of the world's nations and agricultural departments still treat soil as a resource. A resource means something that you can use and throw. Soil is the source of our life, it's not a resource. It's like you grew up and then you call your mother a resource. It's just disgusting, all right? But we are approaching life like this, that in India, we always refer to soil as Thaimannu. It means mother soil, we never say simply soil. But in some places, they're calling it dirt. So this fundamental understanding about soil has to change because faith is an experiential part of human life. This experience has to change, if I have to put it in perspective for you. This is about 29–30 years ago when I started a movement called Project Green Hands. This came up because at that time, the United Nations agencies, some of them came to southern India, where I am, that state, and they said by 2025, 60% of this state will be a desert. I said, how can it be? It's a rich farmland. How can it become a desert? I don't believe predictions. So I personally myself drove all over the place just to see. Then I realized what they are saying in terms of date is wrong because I saw it will happen much quicker. Because 3 perennial rivers had gone totally dry, many tributaries had disappeared. And when I went there to that place, the bore wells or the tube wells would get you water within 100–120 feet. Now they're going 11–1200 feet. The palm trees, the crowns are falling off because no tree can put their roots as deep as the tube wells. So when I saw this, I thought this is not going till 2025. Then I was wondering what is the issue here. Then I realized the national aspiration in India is to keep 33% of the land under green cover. But only 16.5% was under green cover, so I started a movement called Project Green Hands. So I called 4–5,000 volunteers and I told them, see, we are only 16.5%, looking at the number of square kilometers we have in this state. If we plant 114 million trees in 7 to 8 years' time, in 15 to 20 years' time, we will have 33% green cover, which is the national aspiration. All of them rolled their eyeballs, they thought I'm crazy. 114 million trees, Sadhguru, how do we plant this? I asked them a simple question, what is the population? 62 million. I said, see, if all of us plant 1 tree today, nurture it for 2 years and plant 1 more, it's a done thing. But still, just the effort, how? 2 trees is not an effort, even a beggar on the street can plant 2 trees, hello? He'll have a growing office for himself, you know. So, I took them out and made them experience this, made a certain process through which, made them feel with eyes closed, see what you exhale, the trees are inhaling, what the trees exhale, you are inhaling. Once they felt it, now you can't stop them. Till date, 93 million trees have been planted, 93 million living trees today, okay? Because anything that dies is immediately replaced within a fortnight. So 93 million living trees they've planted, we're still short of the goal, but it's a good effort, it's already 9 years plus, we should have done it in 6 to 8 years, but it's 9 years, but the culture has changed, that's the most important thing. Now, people want to plant trees, so then we brought this into the schools and said, see, if you have a dog or a cat or as pet, every 12 years you will have a heartbreak. Hello? Dog love. You will have heartbreak every 12 years. Instead of that, you take a tree as a pet, it lives beyond you and you'll always have a place to come back to. So we did this, if any school plants 10,000 trees, we give them a certificate, this is a green school. Today, there are a few hundred green schools in that part of the country and children have grown out of those schools, but there is something to come back to, they're very proud their trees have grown because they're pets, they are coming back, they've given names and all that stuff. Because human beings act out of their emotion, they need emotional connect with anything that they do, otherwise they cannot invest themselves in something for which they have no emotion. So like this, faith leaders can create their own many things. And today, we have changed various very destructive policies which were there in the past. Many policies have changed with regard to rivers, river basins, soil and agricultural policies and what farmers can do about it, which has changed farmers' lives in a significant way, both in terms of economy and the place where they work. How can any farmer work or how can any farmer disagree that a rich soil is a must for farming? Nobody can disagree with that. But nobody has been working for it, this is the whole problem. I'm saying even if you go to soil scientist events, conferences, I would say 70 to 80% of the scientists unfortunately were not aware, not just in India, in many parts of the world, they are not aware that a plant or a tree cannot take nutrients from the soil without the agency of organisms. It is the multiple organisms which create the agency for plants to grow. Without them, there is no life. Without organisms, there is no human life because over 60% of your body is organisms, only 40% is parental genetics. So they are functioning everywhere, on all levels. This is the foundational life and that is what we're destroying. Why are we destroying it? We are like this kind of a story, like there was a man who built a home for him and his family and he started doing well, flourishing, good farming and everything, more money, more children, everything happened, then he needed more room, then he decided to build the next floor upon the house. But he thought, why go to different places and get material again? He pulled out the foundation stones and started building the first floor. This is exactly what we're doing.
Thank you. I think, if I pronounce it correctly, Anamia, and then Dr. Iyad Abu Mughli from UNEP. I think you're working since many years together, so it's a great pleasure, Iyad, to have you here. Anamia, please.
Thank you. Anania from Lutheran Federation. Maybe in your short summary, where do you see the position of young people in the faith community regarding the soil protection and combating climate change in general? Thank you.
See, when we say young people, old people, middle-aged people, we are again bringing a lot of segregation. We must understand there are some concerns, whether you're young or old, man or woman, this or that, it concerns all of us. So, if you're a social media thing, for young people there is one channel, for older people there is another channel. For soil, we should not separate this, because we are all living out of it, we are all made out… This body is soil, hello? Whether you're young or old, the composition is same, isn't it? So let's not split the world like this because it'll become less and less. But young have more energy to work, but the old or the older, I'm sorry, the older may have more knowledge and more wisdom, so they must inspire and the youth will act. But inspiration will not happen unless you set a good example. Your advice, nobody is willing to take. Your teachings and preachings, nobody is willing to listen unless you set a wonderful example. If you become an inspiration for them, youth are willing to act, big time. They just need an inspirational presence, not just advices and teachings and preachings. They need an inspirational presence. So I think the faith leaders should become that, it's very important.
Thank you. I will pass on the mic to someone who is a bit older only.
Thank you very much.
Don't ask me a difficult question.
Well, I'll try not to. It's always a pleasure to host you, and we're very much delighted that UNEP has supported your Save Soil campaign. You went single-handedly, or actually single left or leg, on a bike to 24 or 26 countries. And
27. 27.
27 countries.
Because
And-
Muscat is not UAE, I hear.
Yeah. Well, according to the reports that I received from your office, you have touched 2 billion people, or you have reached to 2 billion people.
3.91 in
3.9.
100 days. After that, it's going on.
Well, then this is the difficult question, right? This is all great achievement, but can you actually assess the actual impact of such a campaign? Because we are there to inspire people, we bring, faith leaders to inspire people and so on, and we do reach out to people. But then what happens actually? Have any country come back and said, well, we're launching a strategy to save soil? Has that happened?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Well, let me start from India. As you might know that we presented the soil policy for India personally to the Prime Minister in a major event in Delhi, and that was taken up right earnest. And till now, I think India has invested in this last year about $4.3 billion towards soil policies. This is an election year, so nobody wants to invest too much into something that may take 10–15 years to produce results. So election year, we always invest in things which will produce results in 6 months. So soil is not that one, okay? So the simple thing about the numbers of people, why it is important is, we must understand in a democratic country, we have given mandates to the administrations or the governments only for 4 or 5 years. In India, it's 5 years, in most countries it is 4 years. Tell me if you had a job that in 4 years you're going to get fired, hello? And after that you may be nothing. This is a reality. For a professional politician, this is the reality, that you are there right on the top for 4 years, once you lose the election, you're just nothing. If you had a job like that, would you invest and work for things that will produce results within 4 years to please the people and get elected once again? Or would you start something which will take 15–20 years to produce results, and like you're asking for proof, there may be nothing tangible to show? That I take soil and say, see, the soil is much richer than what it was 5 years ago. Who cares? How much money in my pocket? That's what people are asking, all right? When this is the case, we must be little compassionate towards the administrations, because this is their condition. If you don't appreciate that, there will be no results. I appreciate that. I appreciate the difficulty of being a politician. I know I become very unpopular when I say this, but I think they've taken up a very unpopular job. No matter what they do, somebody is throwing stones at them all the time, all right? I'm not saying they're doing all the right things, I'm not saying I'm standing with them. All I'm saying is, suppose you were heading a nation, in a democratic nation, what would you do? You try to produce something which bears result in 4 years' time, isn't it? That's not soil. Soil takes time because we destroyed it over 70–80 years. If we attempt now, it'll take time. So the investments are slow. But India made a bold start because they've committed in the next 10 to 12 years, they will change the soil composition of the nation. For example, we started what is called as Kaveri Calling, that is, one Kaveri is a river in southern India, which is the lifeline of 3 states. This is a 84,000 square kilometer area of river basin. Here we are committed to plant 2.42 billion trees. 5.2 million farmers, we've activated them, it's become a very active movement. Trees are being planted in farmland as part of farming, not as afforestation. This is tree-based agriculture. So, looking at the success of this project, the UNCCD became our partner. The federal government in India, looking at the success of this project, drew out detailed project reports for 13 river basins. These 13 river basins cover 67% of India's land. So, detailed project report has happened. They've made a first tranche of investment, which is $2.4 billion, which is not enough for this massive land. But first, probably they're setting up, government operates like this, they have to set up teams, they have to set up on-ground things, and also there is a problem because India is a a federal state, that there are states which have their own independent governments ruled by different parties, and soil and agriculture is a concurrent subject, that central government cannot do everything. They can only give a recommendation policy and put money behind it, expecting state to put another part of the money and act on it. So some states are proactive, many states are waiting for a disaster, which is usually the way most human beings act. When there's a disaster, they will all get on their toes, otherwise, they're on the other part of the body. So, is it happening? Yes. One significant thing that's happened is, United States and UK have invested quite a bit in the soil in the last 2 years. And the most important thing is that the European Union, for the first time, has gone out to say soil regeneration is a vital aspect of fixing climate change. That's very significant. Because till now, we were only talking oil. Now soil has come into the picture. Unfortunately, this is how human beings work. First we think about something, then we talk, then we agree and disagree on many things, then whatever we agree upon, our emotions get invested, only then our money and action comes into force. So right now, the narrative has definitely shifted in the direction of soil, and if I'm not saying this is absolutely so, but reasonably 81 nations on the planet have started framing their own soil policies. For the first time in 40 years, the government of China has started the soil survey, which has never happened in 40 years' time. So action is happening, but we should not expect miracles. Sensible action is beginning to happen. We destroyed this over 7, 8 decades. It will take some time, but have I any doubt whether it'll happen? No, it is definitely going to happen. Only question is the speed. At what pace will we do it? Will we do it at a pace to mitigate disasters? Or will we wait for disasters to happen and then act? This is a question mark in my mind also. So this is why I am also blabbering all the time about soil, keeping the thing up, because without people demanding it, democratically elected leaders will not do it. Let's be very clear about it. The only reason why they will do it is a number of people who are supporting it. Right now, a few million people have still stayed active. You must understand this. Last 30 years I have been talking about soil. I have spoken to ordinary people, I have spoken to farmers, I have spoken to bureaucrats, I have spoken to ministers, I have spoken to a few heads of state. Everybody, without exception, they said, Sadhguru, what you're saying is very important, it's really fantastic, this needs to happen. But it looks like that night they used my talk as a pillow to sleep upon, because nothing was done. Then I took this mission that you mentioned. I did 30,000 kilometers on my motorcycle. I was 65 years of age at that time, and I said I'm going to ride from London to Kaveri in southern India. Everybody thought this is just a talk, how can he do it, how can he ride? Can a man ride 100 days, 30,000 kilometers? Motorcycle experts came and said, nobody survives 100 days of being on motorcycle every day. I said, that's the idea, because nobody is waking up, let me do. So initially, first few days, everybody thought Sadhguru is having fun. By 13th, 14th day, they all realized, all our volunteers, some 17, 18 million volunteers who are all over the world, they all thought Sadhguru is having a fun ride. But by 13th, 14th day, they realized I was riding through snow, I was riding through rain, I was riding through all kinds of terrain. In these 100 days, 691 events along the way, not just riding, all right? When they saw this, like cicada, they all woke up and they started making the noise. It's that noise which reached 3.91 billion people in 100 days. This is needed. Without waking up the people, you can't move the governments in democratic nations.
Thank you so much, Sadhguru, for your enlightening and inspiring and illuminating remarks. Before we let you leave, we're just asking that the Faith Pavilion organizing team will come on stage to have a photo with you.
Okay.
Yes, so.
Anybody can look pretty next to me, what will
Yeah.
Thank you.